Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. My name is Chris Abel. I'm the Community Outreach Manager at the San Onofre Nuclear Generating Station. Here tonight to give you a status on what's going on at the plant right now. First and foremost, let me say that our number one priority is protecting the health and safety of the public and our employees. That's what we're focused on, that's what we do, and that has always been and will continue to be our number one priority. I think you know by now that on January 9th, Unit 2, which is the northernmost unit, was shut down for normal refueling and maintenance. On January 31st, Unit 3, we had detected a very small radiation, or very small steam leak from one of our steam generator tubes that caused a very small release of radiation. In fact, the only radiation detector on the plant that picked it up was the detector that was closest to where the leak was, looking out for the health and safety of the public and our employees. As soon as the plant was shut down and we could get inside, we started extensive testing, modeling, analysis to determine exactly what the problem was. We identified, of the 19,000 steam generator tubes in Unit 3, we identified 129 of those tubes that showed excessive wear. So what we did is we started what's called in situ testing. What that means is we push water at pressure through the tubes at normal pressure, 1.5 times pressure, and then 3 times pressure.
If the big earthquake comes, what's your plan to deal with that? What's your plan to safely shut that plant down or keeping it from melting? And I'm not sure you can answer those questions.
Well, and that's a great question. Our plant is built to be able to withstand twice with the maximum credible seismic event that the science tells us.
What is that rating? Is that a 7.0?
Well, no. In the nuclear industry, you design nuclear plants based on something called peak ground acceleration. So how fast the Earth is moving when there's an earthquake. Our plant is designed to be able to withstand 0.67 Gs of ground acceleration.
That's very difficult for me to understand when all we hear about is earthquakes being rated 6.9 or 7.0. Can you take it down to that level for me? Yeah,
it's hard because the Richter scale doesn't take into consideration speed or distance of an earthquake, which is why we could have a 12.0 earthquake very far away that we might not feel, and we could have a 2.0 earthquake right next to us that we could. That the Richter scale doesn't take into account that time, the distance, peak ground acceleration does.
Let's take the earthquake scenario out of the picture for a moment. Let's say that you have a disaster there due to human error that causes a meltdown to a certain extent. What is your plan? What is your plan to safely deal with that?
Well, it's not something I can speculate on. It would depend what had happened, what was going on, what the situation was.
Okay, you've answered my question. Thank you.
They're actually under their power from nuclear.
Okay, so 19% of the power that we receive in Southern California is directly attributed to the power source at San Onofre.
Yes.
We heard some statements about the safety record, and I wanted to give you an opportunity maybe to enlighten us or to challenge some of the statements. The statements were saying that San Onofre has the worst safety record in comparison to the other plants, and I'm assuming that was U.S. plants. Can you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, again, safety is something that we take very seriously. It's what is most important to us. You will see that we have had, we understand that we have had some safety. Some employees come forth and bring safety issues forth to the NRC in the past. The NRC has investigated every single one of those safety issues, considered them to be extremely low level, not posing any threat to the public. In addition, we were given a chilled effects letter by the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in regards to some of in regards to our safety, and that has been closed out. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission has said that we've taken great strides to fix that problem and are certainly headed in the right direction.
And then the last question is the approximate age of the facility was about 40 years, plus or minus. How does that compare to the age of other facilities in the United States? Is it among the highest in terms of its age? Is it one of the middle ground ones? How does it fall within?
Yeah, I'm not really an expert on the other plants. I can tell you that, our plant, of course, is over 40 years old, but we're not using 40-year-old equipment or 40-year-old systems. We are using state-of-the-art equipment, state-of-the-art systems.
Thank you for answering the question.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Hebert.
No. Yeah, it was up. Just one very additional question for you, sir. It's, some of the speakers this evening referred to a chart in the study. I don't quite recall what it was, that basically stated that we have excess power available in the grid. Do you comment on that?
That's something you have to ask the California Independent System Operator. I don't have any information on that.
Mr. Ott, do we have anyone here this evening that you know of that showed up that could speak to that issue for us?
I don't know if the SDG rep could speak to that, or is he still there? Usually I can't speak to it, I guess that's stuff.
All right, thank you.
The reading that I did, we had a lot to read. I had something from Senator Boxer's office that in 2010 it was the NRC that deemed San Onofre the most unsafe nuclear power plant in the nation due to its annual number of violations. Are you familiar with that report?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it still the same case?
Well, again, that was every single one of those safety issues was investigated by the NRC, found to be a very low level safety significance. And in fact, in September of 2011, the NRC closed out a number of our cross-cutting issues in regards to our safety conscious work environment.
Okay, thank you.
There's no other questions for you at this time. Thank you. We have one more speaker.
In 2011, March of 2011, the NRC told Boxer that Songs and Diablo are the only ones in the nation, this is a quote, that are located in the highest seismic hazard areas. And that rating is based on the level of seismic activity and the potential for large magnitude earthquakes. So given all this, our senators asked detailed questions of the NRC. We asked them to give them a report on what are the two plants' design, what are the operation of those two plants, the type of reactors they are, how they might differ from Fukushima, and the preparedness of each to withstand an earthquake or a tsunami. So in response to that, the NRC created this task force, and the task force is composed of 6 senior NRC staff members. Between all 6 of them, they have 135 years of combined expertise, and they report to the Nuclear Regulatory Commissioners. At the time, they didn't find any plants needed to be shut down immediately, but they did identify problems. They concluded that the NRC's safety approach, and this is another quote, is incomplete without a strong program for dealing with the unexpected. Continued reliance on industry initiatives for a fundamental level of defense would leave gaps in their own regulatory approach and would not provide the necessary level of safety. And recall, 4 of the 5 commissioners are industry appointments. This gives me a little bit of concern. I asked them to expand the evacuation zone from 10-mile radius to a 50-mile radius. And as we learned many times tonight, Solana Beach is at that 30 miles. And the original 10-mile radius was determined not based on safety or an area of proven exposure limits, but upon the dollar amount of liability that the nuclear industry could absorb. Nothing to do with safety at all. And I think this is unacceptable. So that the Nuclear Regulatory Commissioners looked at the task force recommendations, and on this particular one, which is dealing with, how are we going to get 7.4 million people out in a disaster right away? How are they going to do it? Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? We won't be able to come back. You realize that our homes are gone.